Thanks for staying with us. Now, a minor party is a political party that plays a smaller, in some cases much smaller, even insignificant in comparison role than a major party in a country's politics and elections. Now, the difference between minor and major parties can be so great that the membership total, donations, and the candidates that are that they are able to produce or attract are very distinct. Some of the minor parties play almost no role in a country's politics because of their low recognition, votes, and donations. Minor parties often receive very small numbers of votes at an election to the point of losing any candidate's nomination deposit. Now, the method of voting can also assist or hinder a minor political party's chances. Now, for example, in an election for more than one member, the proportion representing method of voting can be advantageous to a minor party, as can preference allocation from one or both of the major parties. Now, 2023 general elections are drawing very close by day, and we don't seem to have a lot of options. So today we are asking, how can smaller political parties collaborate to at least secure something significant? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-8038-4663. So I'll bring in our guest in a minute. I wanted to just hear your thoughts, because people were asking me questions in the group. The collaboration, okay. Don't you believe that it is important for...
We not say collaboration, okay. We say
what was your question?
For what?
For what? For winning, not to win.
Okay.
Because I feel like, 2023 can really change the face of politics in Nigeria. But
it's changing.
But it has to, first of all, come from a place where selfish desires are put aside, and we all look at what needs to be done, to get, certain kinds of political structures out of the way. And if you ask me, we need a third force in this country. And that third force can only come if there is collaboration between all the small pockets of, smaller political parties that are existing. That's my thought. And that's why I'm having this conversation. But I don't know about you. What do you think?
Is Labour Party not a small force yet? Sorry, a third force yet?
It's not yet a third force.
Okay.
But we can ask our guest.
Yeah, sure. I'm looking forward to what the guests would say. Because there was 2015 when Kingsley, Mogalu, all of them came together and they scattered, right? So, like you said, intention. Everybody has intention, no matter how good or bad. But there's an agenda. Even the one that we are all loving now, of course, it has its intention as well, right? Again, Nigerians are very selfish, wicked people. I don't know how coming together, especially those that are interested in politics, because for them, regardless of what party it is now, even Labour Party, I'll use the word nonsense that is happening there is almost as equal as what's happening in PDP and APC, right? So it's almost like everybody coming out or trying to become politicians are cut out of the same cloth, right? So I don't know how that merger is going to happen, and I'm not particularly excited about it, but like I said, I'm looking forward to what the guests will have to say.
Let me hear your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I think it'll be the right way to go. It'll be a good way to go, collaborating and then trying to defeat the three major parties. But we know that elections have always been about power, controlling it, distributing it, I don't see it happening.
But you know that the success of APC as a party came as a result of a collaboration. It came as a result of a merger. CPC and ADC, it was the name of it.
But the people that were merging the same,
AC rather.
They were still from the...
All right.
Let
me bring it out. Adini Kunwe is a researcher, lecturer, and a media professional. He is the spokesperson to the presidential candidate of the ADC. Short, simple, and he's joined us live in studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you.
This conversation, first of all, thank you for finally making it here into the studio. We thought we were going to have you via Zoom, but thank you for coming.
All right,
when you hear the word collaboration and you hear people call your party, the ADC, a small party, do you agree that, first of all, are you honest enough to tell yourself the truth that you guys are a small party, or, because that's a narrative that the media...
Or is that an insult?
Oh, it's an insult, yes. Because that's the narrative that the media always propagates that there are two major political parties, APC and PDP. So every other party is a small political party. Do you consider your party as a small political party? Let's even start from there.
I'd like to say, first of all, I bring you the greetings of my boss, His Excellency Dumebe Kachuku. He extends his greetings. And of course, his Vice Presidential candidate, Ahmed Buhari, working hard, and sooner than later you get to feel the impact of what we do.
Sorry, which Buhari?
Ahmed Buhari is from
well,
Niger
so
State. Ahmed Buhari. And the duo are actually arguably the youngest. So we're talking about moving away from the old order, which is what we have decided to do as a party. Now, coming to the question you asked me, when they talk about small, there are 1,001 ways you define small. You place it in context. You could define small by virtue of how long or how late or early a party has been in existence. For the records, we're going to be 2 decades sooner than later, so we've been there. We've participated in 4 general elections. The 2007 elections, we came 4th. In 2011, we came 7th. In 2018, we came 8th. In 2019, we came 4th, ahead of even APGA that holds the state. So that's a fact that cannot be altered. It's there for the records. And now you can also define small by virtue of the number of followers. So we have different categorization of the word small. Then you can also define small by, how much people know the party across the country and in some parts of the country. I have to say here very factually that the ADC has strong footholds in 30 of 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, because my boss, His Excellency Dumebe Kachuku, over the years has lived in Abuja, of course shortly in between Lagos, but he has made home in Abuja. So when we talk about small, I want to say that my party is a big party because it has footholds in 30 states of the Federation and counting. The other 6 are a result of the fact that we're still doing a lot of work, because that is what it is. Politics is in continuum, and because it's in continuum, you have to keep building and strategizing, which is what we have been doing. Days ago, we actually announced to the world at a global press conference in Abuja, the campaign director general Abdulaziz Suleiman, who of course also doubles as the leader of the Coalition of Northern Youths, and that he has been doing for many years. When he speaks, the northern region listens. The reality about politics is that you cannot take away any region of the country. And since politics is a game of numbers, the ADC actually has been able to get into the nooks and crannies of the country with strategies unfolding later, especially as the days come near. INEC has instructed that September the 28th campaign begins in earnest. So because we are a party that follows orders, we're a party that actually play by the rules, we have decided to actually let every card we have shuffled ready for the game start unfolding from September the 28th. But of course, we are doing quite a number of things as we speak. Our strategic meetings are being held. I need to also announce to the world that this week, we will actually be at the Arewa House in Kaduna, where we get to speak with the entirety of the North. It's a massive for people who definitely will make presence there, because we really are there. In Kano, for instance, in 44 local government area of Kano, the ADC is there, and many other parts of this country. Northwest, Northeast was there. My boss, His Excellency Dumebe Kachuku, hails, of course, from Delta State, Onochugo, and of course, his vice presidential candidate is from Niger State. And for the records, Niger State is the biggest by land mass in this country. So I just need us to understand that. And in the latest INEC figures that has been put out, the South happens to be either the 3rd or the 4th region that has the highest number of registered voters to go into this election. So there are lots of things that people are not looking at. We may not be so much about the noise on social media, but the social media, of course, is very important. But we also believe that a combination of the virtual space that makes a collaboration or combo with the realistic space, those are really our ingredients for success.
Okay. So simply put,
yes, please.
ADC is not a small party.
ADC is a big party. Okay. It is a big party, yes.
So if ADC is a big party,
yes,
let's just speak to the topic of conversation,
yes,
which
please.
is collaboration. Do you think that, I mean, you said there are strategies that are yet to be rolled out, right?
They were working on the ground.
Yeah.
Yes,
do you think we'll be seeing some form of measures? The big party ADC sort of swallowing up other smaller parties to get some regions. You mentioned 30 states out of 36,
yes,
maybe to just have grounds in the other 6 states. Like, how do you see that playing out? Is collaboration part of your strategy?
Well, in politics, nothing is cast in stone, for the records. And we cannot just rule out such. But because we are a big party, we will not swallow. We will actually want to do things that is symbiotic, because one has to choose the stems very carefully. When you swallow, then nobody sees any other one. So in working with other people, coach itself is not cast in stone. We may really need to sit and tidy up the details. But let me say this. You do not negotiate collaboration from a point of weakness. You negotiate collaboration from a point of strength. I like to use the great economies of the world. They collaborate from a position of strength, and that is why at times when they give you certain amounts of money, they tell you you have to alter certain economic policies so that they can recoup the funds you get. So for us as a party, we are open to conversations from any other party that believes that we have the capacity to help drive their vision to reality. But of course, as a big party that the ADC is, we hold our own, and that is a fact of yet I need to re-emphasize that for the people to understand. And listen to me, good people. For the past 22 years, since we returned to the Fourth Republic, there's been conversations around moving away from the old order. When certain things happen in the country, instead of perhaps the leaders to countenance the disaffections of the people respectfully and try to listen, we have actually experienced this Fourth Republic quite a number of high-handedness by some persons in power. And I believe that the dynamics of politics have changed. The level of sensitization has changed. Let's go into another conversation, if you permit me. According to what INEC has in its data bank right now, about 96 million people are registered to vote. In excess of 51% of those are people between the ages of 18 and 35. My presidential candidate, His Excellency Dumebi Kachukwu, it's within that range. Ahmed Buhari is also in his 40s. It therefore means that there's an appeal first, because you cannot want to solve a problem without understanding the realities or the context of the problem. And there are times when you are far in age, it doesn't mean you're not competent, or you may not quite grasp the details. Even parenting has evolved these times. So if you look at everything within the Nigerian space, globalization has had its influence. The exposure to certain techies has actually influenced a lot of things. Then what appeals also differ. The optics really matter. PR has actually become very dynamic. These are very realistic things that anybody who wants to take power must come to terms with. And I want to say also that the International Youth Day was, I think, on Saturday, and that should be on the 12th. That's Friday. On Friday, thank you very much. And when that came out, one of the things that His Excellency Dumebi Kachukwu put out, which of course is in public domain, is that it will not allow another NSAS protest. And why? When there is NSAS protest, it's an accumulation of anger. More or less like you have a spring that has been pressed for so long, and when it has the opportunity to go up, the spring just go poof. So I think that that is one thing that Nigerians should look at, and this is very critical. The ADC will take this election in 2023. You can't quote me that I'm saying that. Let's look at this. There are lots of things that have happened amongst the major parties between the time that we started. A party told us that they were going to be there for 60 years. They managed 16 years, and they're out now as the opposition party. Another party told us that they will provide 3 million jobs in a year, and that they will make electricity stable. We quite have not seen up to 1 million jobs a year. We also have not been able to enjoy electricity. Most of us in our homes spend extra that is not on the monthly budget just to ensure that alternative sources of power are dealt with. These are very key things. Now, in 7-8 years, we've not had a census done. These are issues you put on the front burner when you're talking about a party that understands its onions. You're talking about the 2023 election. What is the data we've been working with for the past 6 years? Yes, so...
Sorry, let's just go on a very short break, because you see that conversation when it comes to data in Nigeria is still a bit sketchy, because we don't even really know. But let's go on a very short break.
Okay,
when we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for staying with us now. If you just tuned in, we are discussing collaboration. We're asking, is there a possibility of small parties, even though somebody has clearly said his party is a big party, collaborating, for the coming 2023 elections? And Adeni Ikono is here to discuss this with us now. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081 803-84663. So I want you to land on the point you were making about what's it called?
The data.
The data, the data available. Because for me, yes, we might have all of those things, but you see, when it comes to practicality in Nigeria, those things don't tie up, right? You might have all the figures, you might have all the numbers, you must have done all your research and all of that, but when you now put it to practical terms, right, it doesn't really add up. You said in the 2019 elections, you guys came fourth.
Yes, please. Right.
So I like the idea, but I believe that if you are in an election, you are going there to win the election.
Yes.
And as it stands, in the data in my own head, as it stands, I believe that the reason APC was able to upturn a PDP was because there was a merger, right? Do you think your principal and the other political party principals, would you think they'll be willing? Because you made a very key point that social media is very powerful and it's influencing this 2023 elections. You can see the direction of where the young people are going.
Yes, that's true.
Everybody is obedient, everybody is shouting.
Also, it seems actually.
It's not it seems. That is what it is.
No. when we have conversations
perception.
It's a perception. Let's leave it as a perception.
Okay, good.
The perception in the media space is obedient, and that's why a lot of these big wigs are a bit threatened. And you see all those things being thrown at him and all of that, because you will know when there's when there's something like antagonizing someone, you will know that that person is truly a threat to whatever it is that is going on. But hey. The winning for me, it is, are you in it to win it? And if you're in it to win it, what are you doing? Because we know that this thing cannot be done, single. So no matter how fantastic your candidate is or whatever in the ADC, there has to be some level of collaboration.
Okay.
So how do we go about that?
In the first place, since the focus is about collaboration, let me say that in this politics, there are 18 political parties. Having INEC delisted over 100. And the parties we're talking about, the APC, the PDP, and the Labour Party, are 3 of 18. So when you talk about the ADC making it 4, you have about 14 other parties there to work with. Now the picture is this: without a doubt, many other parties do not have as much tentacles or reach as the ADC has. When we talk about politics based on issues, I do not want to sound as maybe pulling another party down, but I think that the ADC holds its own heads and shoulders with the APC and the PDP with regards to its spread across the country. And I think that that is a fact that can be verified.
And that's what you call structure.
Well, the reality is structure comes in different ways. Okay. Your structure could be in virtual space, and you could actually create a reconscientization of people in virtual space because of your consistency in information and all of that on social media. And in the recesses of states across the country, people could actually feel your impact. You could also have people who are really grassroots mobilizers that could go to the nooks and crannies of respective places and also try to create emphasis on the capacities of your candidate. And I think that one can do or create such buzz in different ways. But what is key is this. As I said earlier before the intermission, the ADC is willing to collaborate from a position of strength with other parties that are willing to come to us because we have the structure, we have the penetration, and of course we have the capacity. Now, what asked me was also about the strategies we want to evolve to ensure that we leverage whatever opportunities we have. The first of it is that we are everywhere. The second is we've been able to do a diagnosis of the problem of Nigeria, and I'm going to actually share certain concepts with you. There's what we call the theory of incompetence, and you could have direct incompetence and indirect incompetence. One of what has bedeviled the country is the problem of incompetence. incompetence because people perhaps suppose that somebody you voted for has a capacity. Or on the other hand, you never knew the person in question doesn't have an idea. You put the person there, or the person could, in principle, be capable, but actually have maybe allies on board that are less capable. So you could have direct incompetence and what indirect incompetence, and that is part of what we have diagnosed as a problem. It is therefore important for us to actually enter into the business of governance, bearing in mind that you cannot give what you do not have. The reasons why the three of you are here is because you exude a level of capacity to undo this. This is a global television station. Without your capacities, I doubt if you would be here. And it's a privilege that over the years, Uwa particularly has been consistently doing this on different platforms. It is capacity to deliver, and the consistency and the fact that you're able to understand the trends of time and fuse it into this. It is the same thing with us as a party. The capacity is there. For instance, I'm speaking on behalf of my principal, as you have many other parties who speak on behalf of their principal. This nation has over 218 million as of 3 days. That's the population of the country, because you had about over 4,000 every year, growing at the rate of 2.4%. Those are realistic facts from the from approximations of the nation's population. So what I'm saying is, I am here because out of 218 million people, some people perhaps found out that I have the capacity to make sense of whatever it is they want to do. So they decided, come and do this because we feel that you at least managed to finish primary school, if I were to joke there. So if you look at what we have, first, understanding of the issue, we will not have people who are incompetent, square pegs and square holes.
So I get all of that part,
yes,
right? I'm saying that money, you wanted to ask a question, sorry. I've been
Yeah, I was going to ask a question about the collaboration.
Okay, please.
We're still
talking about collaboration. Yes, we are.
And I like the fact that you are saying that you are open to it.
Yes,
your party is
from a position of strength. Position of strength. Yes,
I'm not going to forget that.
Yes, please.
From a position of strength.
Yes, please.
So, do you think you'll be able to work with other parties if they come to you, like you say, to achieve a common objective? Do you think it is possible?
Two things are fundamental here, because when you collaborate with people, there has to be a coalescence of ideas. If the ideology of a party differs from yours, if at all they have shown some level of willingness to come to you, then part of what precedes such collaboration will be a fine-tuning of the ideology, because ultimately we are responsible to the people.
Absolutely.
Do not forget that one of the things that have caused a lot of disaffection within the Nigerian political space is the fact that people are not able to keep their words. Politics is as dangerous as it is as interesting. And one moment you could have people come with you, the other moment you could have people go away from you. And that is what the African Democratic Congress is very conscious of. We are conscious of the fact that, you see, when you have people falter, you don't allow yourself experience such pitfalls, because they become examples for you to actually be guided so that you don't get into the ditch. We've seen many political parties leading up to this moment fall into ditches. And what we are resolved to do is not to allow ourselves go into the ditch that they already have found themselves. So we are very careful to not give what we will not have the capacity to deliver. Control. It is very key. You see, you can't tell people lies. For instance, look at Boris Johnson in the UK. While others were locked down, he was busy partying. And that's why he's become the sacrificial goat in British politics, not a lamb now. Because if we're a lamb, he would have actually been innocent. So if you look at many other leaders of the world, when you say something, and that is why we have to begin to take a cue from fully functional democracies across the world. It is key for us to do that.
So, but say for politics, because I need to speak pidgin English here.
Go ahead, I speak pidgin too, 100%.
Sorry, before you speak pidgin, I just have one small question.
Please go ahead.
A small answer to. Don't give me a long one. So, if you're saying that, you've emphasized the fact that any collaboration you're having, ADC is coming from a place of strength.
Strength, yes.
Does that mean that the idea of your principal or the presidential candidate stepping down is not can never be on the table at all if that comes in?
That's what he said.
If that comes in play.
Are you saying, well, I didn't get that line? I want to get it very correctly. If I understand.
Are you saying the option of your principal stepping down at all if that sort of collaboration comes in will never be considered?
Well, to that extent, he will be the one to make such very, very it's a hefty decision to make, because don't forget that there's a lot of investments that have gone into this, and part of the investment is that I told the country to continue to make this statement because he's a very busy person, also working hard to ensure that he gets the necessary information out. So if somebody has invested time, do not also forget obtaining the form costs quite some amount of money. So such investments are not easy for you to let go of.
So what's the ROI of this investment?
No. Okay. You're talking about the ROI, and for those who don't understand the abbreviation, return on investment, it is the fact that we want to contribute towards emancipating the country from the shackle of, retrogression.
Great. So if
that is one, yes.
No, if that is the goal,
yes,
and the price to get that done is him stepping down, how is that not a way to go?
It may be easy on this side of the divide to talk about just stepping down.
Okay.
But stepping down takes a lot of condiments to cook such meal. And do not forget that I had told you earlier that when you talk about the idea, for instance, I am advancing the ideology of the party because we believe we have the capacity. Consistency has been key for us. It is no piece of cake for a party to participate in an election 4 consecutive times. So it means therefore that those are, so any other person that wants to come, for instance, to say, step down. Okay, what have you been able to do in the past 17, 18 years? What have you bringing to the table?
Remember that he has talked about structure.
So let me say something. I was going to say it in pidgin English.
Talk for pidgin. I'll answer you for pidgin.
Say, at some point,
yes, please,
there has to be a goal. And I think that was you see, politics is different. Politics is not grammar, it's not English. And that was what Tinubu understood in the 2015 elections. The common goal was, there's somebody on that seat and we need to get that person out of that seat.
Yes.
So whatever it will take, you understand, let us get it done. Do we like the state of the country as it is today? The answer is no.
Yes, please.
We know we need leadership. We need good governance, right? Already there is, and that is the what's it called? That was what happened. You read the air.
Yes.
You read the mood of the country. You read what young people are saying. I remember how I stood in the rain trying to vote, and all of that.
It's your civic duty.
It's my civic duty, but I'm saying to you that it has even gotten that hunger has gotten even worse than what it was in 2015.
Yeah.
Based on the happenings between that 2015 till date. So we already understand that.
Yeah.
It's a strategy. So how we are going to now achieve the goals and the whatever, other political parties are not thinking that. I will tell you that, you see, to tell you how desperate politicians are, if it would take an APC to merge with a PDP to get that seat retained, they will do that. But we now, all these political parties are so carried away by our own personal, ambitions. Let me finish. And most times, I do not see that hunger to actually want to win that thing. Because if you already understand, you can't deny that there is a mood in the air. I like your candidate, I've never met him. Maybe we'll bring him on the show and all of that. But I'm saying to you that there's a mood already in the air. Do we want to just quickly leverage on that mood and see how we can win this thing? Because you see, if 2023 comes and they see that this thing is going in that direction, APC and PDP will merge.
Okay.
And every other person will be shocked at that. Oh, this is actually possible. Because they don't have shame. So we should stop all these, as political this thing. Yes, all the other political parties, they have so much ideologies. They speak a lot of English. They have all the right figures, all the right data. But you're not doing the work. You're not trying to win that seat. No, that's the pain I have.
No, you don't need to be pained, because we as a party have been working. And because we have timelines for what we want to do, that's why it seems as if we're not making all the noise. But let me say this. The reason you hear some people in the news is because they are in government. And when you are in government, personality, according to journalism, also is news. The APC, one way or the other, would always give accounts of their leadership day in, day out. The states where you've got the PDP would also give accounts of their leadership day in, day out. So you hear about them. Do not also forget that the circumstances surrounding the movement of a Peter Obi, for instance, from the PDP to the Labour Party is also news. So we understand that because there are issues surrounding those people that have been making the news, it is expected that it will continue. But that cannot subtract from the capacity we have and the groundwork we have been doing. So for us, we've got timelines. But let me tell you this. It may not be quite true that our party and some other parties across the world are not doing it. Let me go to Ukraine, for instance. A Petro Poroshenko, the president of Ukraine before Vladimir Zelensky, was never thought that he would lose that election. He took over from Viktor Yanukovych, that was ousted before his tenure ended because of his collaboration with Russia. And when they went into that election and it went into a runoff, the people stood by him and he won against all odds. In fact, people thought the election was just done and dusted until they went to the polls. In politics, you do not have things that are cast in stone.
Nigeria is a unique political
No, we cannot be unique for things that, okay, for instance, let me talk about Anna Mushon that won the 110 meters hurdles, and what that's in Eugene, in Oregon. And let me talk about what she did at the Commonwealth Games. People never expected that. I did a proper dissection of the commentaries. The commentaries were such as if they gave it to her. The world wasn't looking the way of Nigeria. So that is the beauty of being an underdog in an election, where nobody looks in your way, where everybody takes their eyes off you. And because people's eyes are not on you, that works in your favor. It gives you time to focus. Okay. It gives you time to just look away from all the distractions.
I think it would be nice for you to use relatable examples. Because what you use Osun State and what other states? You know, let's use.
We're talking about the presidential election, so it's a bigger scale. That's why I think.
It's presidential.
No, not only. I just said because. No.
Can we
have candidates?
Comments? Let's take comments quickly.
Yes, please. Yes.
You say Nigeria, we are a unique country.
Yes.
But hey, who
okay,
am I?
So Mr. Ruto left the Jubilee Party and formed a new political party.
Mr.
United,
Ruto.
Okay.
That's in Kenya.
Yes.
Party United Democratic Alliance, and contested under the party and the elections in Kenya. It's totally wrong for some set of myopic people calling other parties small parties and even calling people like Obi a bigot. The next elections will be a different ball game with a big shock to many people. God bless you all at ways. That's from Bobby Kennedy from Jalingo.
So, Manny, before you take, let me take a follow-up.
Okay.
No, I want to take a follow-up on Bobby Kennedy because he sent another. It says, Ruto is 55. The young people in Kenya rejected old ways of doing things.
Yes.
Which is what is happening
right,
in Nigeria.
That was rejected. Obviously.
They have taken their destinies in their own hands. It is remaining to see if the Nigerian youth has the guts to do the needful for Nigeria. Bobby Kennedy. So go ahead again.
Okay. Then the next one says, good evening, ladies. Now I know why Kunu constantly talks down on the candidate of Labour Party on his radio program. Well done, Richard from Lagos.
Okay. Do you talk down? Well, let's take more comments.
I don't know.
This is Austin from Delta. Good topic, as campaign activities will take off soon. 2023 elections will be tight, just as what is happening in Kenya right now. I foresee runoff coming. Except there's collaboration. Although a political supposing Obi Kwankwaso had teamed up as earlier proposed, the third force can probably make better inroad. Tell your ADC man to go for merger if winning is in their mind and stop speaking grammar. 2023 will be determined by 3 factors, namely tribal, religious, and big pockets. With collaboration, that is the only way to oust the 2 major parties they're rooting for, period.
All right, so hi ladies on the show. Your subject matter is of huge interest to me. It is ironic that the smaller political parties are actually where the best candidates are, but the paucity of war chest and a lack of national orientation on the part of the electorate have always been their albatross. Now, the chance of these parties winning election is to a large extent hinged on the level of political orientation of the nation. If we know we want, we'll go for them. If we know what we want, I think that's what he was trying to say. Okay. We'll go for them. But I think we've had a fantastic conversation. They're shouting in my ear, right? But we ran out of time. You have to come back. Don't worry, I like you. We'll be fighting together. But I believe that if you guys want to win, honestly, we have to keep our personal ambitions aside and look to nation building.
Our cards are open.
Absolutely. I like the fact
you leave your investment aside.
Yes.
No, don't get it wrong. Let's put it in context, not investment to take money out. The reality is, let's say this, even personal development is investment.
His cards are open, and I like the fact that you have 30 states, so we will come to you. Now, before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, and invite your family and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for the privilege. I appreciate it.
If you missed today's quote, here it is again. Teamwork is the ability to work together towards a common vision, the ability to direct individual accomplishments towards organizational objective. It is the field that allows common people to attain uncommon results. This is the one we are looking for in 2023, uncommon results. We'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.